Losing to a royal flush is painful enough, but when you also have a monster hand of your own, it's outright heartbreaking. In this video, we're looking at hands where players thought they were about to rake in a huge pot until the poker gods deliver the cruelest twist imaginable. And stick around until the end, because the last hand is not just a statistical anomaly, it might be one of the most iconic moments in poker history. Let's get right into the action. We're kicking things off at the 2016 PokerStars Caribbean Adventure, where the sun is bright, the stakes are sky high, and one player is about to live every poker player's dream. 928 entries each put up $5,300 to chase that trophy, the glory, and the life-changing payday that comes with it. And now, only 31 players remain. At one of the tables, Paul Tedeschi opens the action. On the button, Philip McAllister makes the call. From the blinds, Fabian Charilla can't resist the price and tags along. Three players, deep stacks, and tension that you can feel through the screen. The flop lands, and action checks to McAllister, who fires a small probing bet. Both opponents call. Everyone's got a piece, and the air feels electric. The turn brings the Jack of Hearts, a true action card. Straight draws, flush draws, it's all in play now. Both opponents check again. McAllister keeps the pressure on, firing a second barrel. Rabach calls, but then Tedeschi does something that catches everyone off guard. The room goes silent. The kind of move that turns a hand into a headline. And then comes the river, the ace of hearts. Everything gets there. Straights, flushes, dreams, and disasters, all wrapped up in one card. Fabian leads small, desperate for a cheap showdown, but McAllister is not about to make it easy for him. Fabian goes deep in the tank over 4 minutes of silent calculation, camera lights glaring, heartbeat audible. Finally, Fabian makes the fold. The table waits. Then the tension breaks. McAllister turns over the impossible. A runner-runner royal flush. But now, we travel north from the sun-soaked Bahamas to a very different kind of battlefield, where two Finnish pros are locked in a hand that looks calm on the surface, but where trouble is brewing underneath. Juha Helppi looks down at the big slick in a suit, a hand that looks pretty, but doesn't win as often as you may hope for. Across the table, sitting in the cutoff, his countryman peels down pocket aces. 2 red rockets, the perfect setup for disaster. Yanni goes for a 3-bet, and action folds back around to Juha. He makes the call, opting for a cautious approach. He could go for a 4-bet, but this way he's allowing his opponents to continue with hands he already has crushed. And the flop is pure nightmare fuel for 2 red aces, all clubs. Juha checks to the aggressor, playing it cool, the kind of nonchalance you could only have when you flop the stone-cold nuts. Yanni checks back, rightfully terrified of the board, but it's about to get scarier. The turn brings about another club, another check, and another check behind. And just when you think Juha can't get any luckier, the river hits. A queen of clubs. A royal flush for Juha, the rarest hand in No Limit Hold'em. But there's a huge problem. How the hell are you supposed to get paid off here? He can't risk his opponent checking back the 3rd time, so he finally takes a stab at the pot. A small bet designed to look like a bluff, just small enough to make his opponent curious. Sointula managed to avoid a disaster here, but not every royal comes wrapped in discipline and ice-cold control. Some of them come straight out of the chaos, the kind of madness that only happens when deep stacks and loose action collide. Our next hand comes from Live at the Bike Stream. With blinds at 5-5 and a 5 ante, we have a perfect setup for chaos. Deep stacks, big pots, and players who aren't afraid to mix it up. Derek opens the action with Jack 10, just trying to stir up a pot. One caller comes along. Then Chris spots an opportunity, perfect spot for a squeeze. He bumps it up to 400, looking to scoop up some dead money before the flop. But this time, no one's folding. Derek makes the call. Bart Hansen joins the ride. And just like that, 3 players are about to walk into a statistical nightmare. Chris flops a full house. Domination in its purest form, a dream scenario. He leads small, dangling bait, begging for a call. Derek, completely unaware he's drawing near dead, obliges. Getting a good price, he tosses in the chips without hesitation. Bart steps aside, and we go heads up. The turn brings the king of spades, giving Derek just a whisper of hope. Chris slows down, imagining Derek's got something like ace-jack or queen-jack. He doesn't know it yet, but this check just opened the door to disaster. And then the river, the ace of spades, completing the unthinkable. Derek makes a royal flush with Jack 10 offsuit. The table goes quiet.
Wow, backs into a royal flush, and Chris flopped a full house. This is a sick hand. Derek raised pre with Jack 10 and Chris 3-bet. Derek peeled, and Chris bet the flop, down bet with his full house. Derek calls, he goes check, check on the turn. And on the river, Derek backs into a royal flush. This is insane. And this is a sick, sick hand. Derek is going to bet 1050 here. And I think Chris is just going to call. I would be surprised if Chris shoves here. And Chris just calls. And Derek.
Chris stares at the board. He can't believe his luck. From flopping the nuts to a pitiful bluff catcher in the blink of an eye, Derek's offsuit royal flush felt like something out of a movie, completely defying the odds of probability. But from the chaos of a Los Angeles cash game, we now move on to a very different state, one lined with marble doors, designer watches, and million-dollar buy-ins. We move on to the Triton Poker Tournament, where every chip is a weapon, every pot a small fortune, and one mistake can cost you a seat at the final table. Our next stand takes us to the 2022 Triton Poker Series, where the top prize sits north of $1 million. Only 10 players remain, one elimination away from the final table, and every decision now carries the weight of 6-figure pay jumps. In the cutoff, Tommy Kim opens the action with King-Jack of clubs. A slick, suited hand, dangerous when it connects, too. In the small blind, Michael Soiza flat calls with King-9 of hearts, keeping the pot manageable. Pretty standard stuff, until the flop hits. Both players connect. Both find something to chase after. Soiza checks, letting the pre-flop aggressor take the lead. Kim fires small, the kind of bet designed to test the waters without lighting a fuse. Soiza calls, steady, patient. The turn brings the ace of clubs, and suddenly, everything changes. Tommy picks up a monster draw. It's the perfect card to double barrel, but instead, he checks. And that small amount of restraint, it's actually about to pay off in the biggest way imaginable. The river falls, and Tommy Kim makes the royal flush, the rarest hand in poker, the one every player dreams about, but almost never sees. And to make it even sweeter, Soiza hits a straight, and with the board begging for action, he takes the bait, firing 400,000 into the middle. Kim can barely contain himself. It's the kind of moment that makes your pulse spike even when you're miles ahead. But instead of getting greedy, Tommy goes subtle. 1 million chips slid quietly into the pot. The math looks too good. The story looks too believable. And for Soiza, there's no getting away. But Triton isn't done dealing miracles just yet, because something similar happened in another Triton game. This time, it was Dan Jungleman Cates tangled up in a pot where math stopped making sense. Cates limps into the pot with ace-10 suited, and Mikita Badziakuski limps behind with King-Jack of diamonds. Rui Kao sees a great opportunity to pick up a lot of dead money in the pot. He goes for a big raise. He gets 2 callers, and the action goes back to Mikita. He's getting a great price on a call, but instead of just peeling the flop like most players would, he takes the whole table by surprise and moves all in. A bold, unexpected move, and just crazy enough that it might work, and it almost works. Everybody gets out of the way except for Jungleman. This isn't his first rodeo. By now, he has an almost uncanny ability to feel that something about his opponent's story doesn't quite add up. The first flop doesn't look good for Mikita, but he still has a bunch of outs available, and he hits one of them on the turn. The first run out was exciting, but it's nothing compared to what happens next. Mikita flops the trips, and Cates is almost dead in the water. Cates needs a miracle for this one, but a miracle is exactly what the deck had in store that day.
Backdoor flush.
Maybe SS.
When I have 2 of them.
Yeah, nearly a fucking ace or something. What? Oh, a lot of outs now. Flush beats a full house.
2 time again.
很有机会啊，常威没有他的，我又没有他的。
Yeah, gamble.
他妈的，第2个我赢了，
I need.
我也不赢。
Oh, wild flush! Oh my god! For Jungleman.
Royal flush, huh? Royal flush.
Speaking of miracles, our next stop leads us to Hustler Casino, where logic tends to take a back seat, and the cards seem to have a mind of their own. And this is where we find Mariano, sitting down for what he thinks is just another high-stakes session. until the poker gods decide otherwise. We head now to Hustler Casino Live, where chaos is never far from the felt, and tonight, Mariano is about to play one of the most jaw-dropping hands of his entire career. Sitting under the gun, he peels King 10 of diamonds and opens the action to $500. Across the table, Charles fires back with a 3-bet. The action folds around, and all eyes turn back to Mariano. Most players would just call here, maybe even fold and live to fight another day. But not Mariano. He digs deep, grabs a stack, and fires off a massive 4-bet to $9,000. And just like that, there's over $20,000 in the middle before the flop even hits. You can feel the tension rising. Then the dealer spreads the flop, and it's absolute insanity. For context, the odds of flopping a straight flush with a suited connector sit at just 0.02%. With a 2-gapper hand like King 10, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice. Everyone freezes, no one dares to breathe. They all check. Knowing hands like this almost never get paid, but this time around, you just know it's a matter of time before the plot explodes. The turn brings a harmless card, and Mariano finally takes his shot, going for a delayed C-bet, just praying to get some action here. And Andy answers that prayer instantly with a huge check raise. Mariano can hardly believe it. Stone cold nuts, and his opponent is building the pot for him. It's a dream spot, but he keeps his cool. Andy could easily have queens, jacks, maybe even nines. Mariano can only hope Andy improves, maybe he fills up on the river. But what actually happens next is even better. The river brings the 6 of diamonds. Andy is still convinced he's miles ahead, confident, composed, hunting for value. He rips in a massive overbet. Mariano sits motionless. Inside, he's screaming. Outside, he's ice. He shoves all in. Andy snap calls, and the room erupts. Straight flush over nut flush. Truly one of the grossest coolers of all time.
Mariano bets $8,000 and just got raised. Imagine having a straight flush and getting raised. Mariano on the right side of your screen, right there, has flopped the straight flush in a 4-bet pot. $97,000 in the pot. Board does not pair. It is a 4th diamond out there. $120. And Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace.
Oh my God.
Mariano.
$611,000 pot, and Mariano can't believe it. We've seen that before.
Open. No. Open 3-bet. In 3-bet. 4-bet.
Who has the straight flush? Mariano?
Hey, nigga. Open. 3-bet. Code call 3-bet. 4-bet. Call. Code call 4-bet.
Wow.
You run pretty good.
When you 4-bet with this and so this flop.
You run pretty good, an understatement. Mariano flops a straight flush. Andy flops the ace-high flush. It all goes in on the river. $611,000 pot.
All right, 1, 2, 40, 50.
Headed over to a man who was playing 1-3 a couple of years ago. Just unbelievable.
Alright, this one was technically not a royal flush, but it was such a crazy hand that it definitely deserves an honorary mention here. But our next hand features a pure royal flush Heartbreak, where one brutal river card changes everything. Next up, we're deep in the WSOP Main Event, and Jason Mercier opens the action with Pocket Kings. A dream spot, especially this deep in a tournament run, but soon, this dream is about to turn into a nightmare. Chris Moneymaker looks down at Ace King in the big blind. Chris only has a couple of chips left, and if he wants to stay in the game, he has to make a move, and fast. He knows he won't get a better opportunity than with this, so with his back against the wall, he goes on the offensive, firing off a 3-bet. Jason is loving the action, and he moves all in. Chris makes a reluctant call, already fearing the worst. Chris can't even bear to look at the board, already resigns to his fate. But then, something unbelievable happens. The flop comes down, and suddenly, Chris is back in the game. From a total pre-flop domination, we're now looking at a coin flip.
And a call from Moneymaker. Moneymaker at risk and behind.
He started the hand with almost 40 big blinds, and it looks like ace-king suited might be his last hand.
Jason Mercier in position to collect Moneymaker's bounty as Moneymaker exits the scene.
You should have to stay at the table. Brett Favre doesn't heave one up for grabs and run to the sideline and drink some Gatorade while waiting to see if it's intercepted.
All right, here we go. Chris Moneymaker awaiting his fate.
Maybe it's time for him to find a new line of work if he can't watch all in flops.
The flop is 10 trade jack 2 clubs. Wow! Moneymaker now favored with a royal flush draw and 1 overcard.
Yeah, Moneymaker might win the hand now. What, he's gonna be out wandering the strip when he hits his royal flush in a moment?
Turn card, 8 of spades. Mercier dodges trouble. He's now favored to knock out Moneymaker.
Well, Chris now should be halfway to his car because he is about to lose this hand.
River card, queen of clubs. Are you kidding? A royal flush for Chris Moneymaker.
If you're gonna win, that's how you win.
This hand was a throwback to a different era, but our next hand is a pure modern-day heartbreak, just as tragic as the rest of them. It's the 2022 BetMGM Poker Championship Main Event in Las Vegas. Out of the 343 players that have entered the tournament, only 4 are left standing. The room is quiet, and every decision now carries a 6-figure price tag. Michael Wang, composed as ever, looks down at pocket queens, one of the best hands you can actually hope to see in this deep in a tournament. He opens the action, looking to play for stacks and double up. And then, sitting in the small blind, Joey Weissman looks down at ace-jack of diamonds, a hand full of potential and danger. But Joey has a commanding chip lead at the moment, and he can certainly afford to gamble it up a bit. He carefully weighs his options. He could flat call, trying to see a flop, but that would mean playing out of position against one of the toughest players in the field. So, instead, he takes the aggressive route. No hesitation, no half measures. He shoves all in. It is a high risk, high reward play. The kind of play that you need to make if you want to keep dominating the table, but definitely scary. But this time, it looks like he pushed his luck a little bit too far. Michael calls instantly, revealing the queens. And suddenly, it's the classic tournament showdown with Michael's stack hanging on the line. The dealer fans the flop, king, 10, 7, rainbow. Both players can't help but laugh. That nervous kind of laughter that only poker players understand. Joey picks up an inside straight draw, and just like that, the sweat is real. Then the turn comes, 10 of diamonds. Weissman's eyes light up. He's picked up a monster draw. Michael's composure cracks just a little. You can see it in his face, that flicker of dread. He's still ahead, but barely. The energy in the room shifts. The chips are frozen. The cameras zoom in, and it feels like time stops for a beat, because everyone in the room, Michael especially, can almost feel what's coming next.
It's the queen of diamonds!
Oh.
And it is the royal flush beating the full house!
Welcome to GG Poker. Me and him could play for second.
Oh.
What a life you
The pain.
A royal flush for Joey Weissman.
Speaking of lightning in a bottle moments, now we move on to the poker's biggest stage, the WSOP, where one unsuspecting player is about to get sent home in the most brutal way imaginable. We're deep in the World Series of Poker, and the tension is electric. Every decision here could mean the difference between a deep run and the long walk to the payout desk. Dag Martin Mikkelsen, the chip leader, sits tall behind a mountain of chips, calm, confident, and completely in control. He peels back ace-king of diamonds, one of those hands that shines a little brighter under the WSOP lights. Next to him, Chris Lovelace looks down at pocket eights. Not a monster, but strong enough to take a stand. He fires in a 3-bet, looking to test the table bully, hoping to make a statement. And Mikkelsen doesn't even flinch. And Lovelace? He snaps him off. The call of a man ready to gamble for glory.
What you got back? To Dog Martin. And he'll re-raise him all in.
Okay.
And a call.
Okay.
It's one of the most sedate all-in calls we've ever seen at the main event.
Well, Lovelace has run up against the biggest boy, the chip leader.
All right, to the flop we go now. The flop is 10 Jack. Jack, what a flop for Mikkelsen, a straight flush draw.
What a way to miss and still be monstrously ahead.
Lovelace's pocket eights are good, but in dire straits.
10.
Turn card, 6 of diamonds and a flush for Mickelson, but not over yet, boys.
Yeah, Lovelace can still survive with an 8 or a jack for a full house.
River card, queen of diamonds and a royal flush for Mickelson. Lovelace is gone.
What a hell of a way to go out.
Now, this last hand may be the grossest bad beat, not only in WSOP history, but in poker history in general. Let's set the stage. It's the 2008 World Series of Poker Main Event, one of the most prestigious and pressure-packed poker tournaments on the planet. We're deep into the event, and emotions are high. The atmosphere is electric, and this hand only adds fuel to the fire. At the center of this chaos is Motoyuki Mabuchi, sitting on a monster hand, and across the table is Justin Phillips, who's about to become part of poker folklore. The pot has grown massive by the river, and the tensions are high. And then it happens. Mabuchi goes all in. Phillips doesn't hesitate and snap calls. The table erupts. Even the commentators are stunned. Now, here's the question. Can you guess their hole cards?
Tumble out of the main event.
This wasn't just a bad beat, it was poker cruelty at its finest. But as painful as it is to lose to a royal flush, poker can actually get even crueler than this. So, if you want to know what happens when players lose with seemingly unbeatable hands, make sure to watch this video next. We'll see you there.